This is too good a segue to Anora. If you haven't heard, there has been a little backlash, rumblings from set from Anora. There's a online group, primarily of Hollywood professionals, that were sharing stories from Anora's set. I'm in the group, and the thing is with anonymous posts, you have to be really careful. This story got picked up in Hollywood Reporter. According to the story, IATSE, the union that represents most crew members, they intervened after there was a vote from the crew to go union. It was a surprise to a lot of crew members, supposedly. They had negotiations behind closed doors. One of the reports said that Sean Baker threw a quote-unquote hissy fit and was colder to the crew afterwards. Supposedly, the producers fought tooth and nail to avoid it going union. There were other reports from other members who said it didn't feel like that. They didn't describe it as a hissy fit. They said that Sean Baker looked emotional and grateful. They said that no one complained about union wages. Everyone felt like it was a typical indie shoot, got paid fair wages. So we don't know exactly what happened, but we do know that it turned union towards the end of the shoot. It could be, and this is a big thing. If the union crew is working non-union, those hours that they're working, they might not get paid overtime. Possibly, we don't know. Also, those hours won't go to their insurance. That's the thing.
Yes, that's the key, because I saw that post.
I don't know if it's easier or harder. We're not working for hours to get our health insurance. We're actually working towards how much money you make on a SAG project, and you have to get $23-some thousand a year to make health insurance.
I thought it was more now.
So
is it not more now? No.
Families' health insurance are being provided by this. Go ahead. What is it?
$25,950. So $26,000.
Out of all of Sean Baker's films, we go from Tangerine, we go to Red Rocket, we go to Florida Project. All these independent great films that he's been doing for the past 10, 15, 20 years, most of them were non-union. Okay?
Oh, I didn't realize
The only one was Florida Project.
The Florida Project was a big movie.
Directors in the DGA technically can work a non-union film, which is just bonkers. I mean, that's already a whole nother issue that we got to deal with. So the non-union crew...
With a budget of $6 million.
Exactly. A budget for $6 million. And the process started, and they essentially flipped the crew. Now, from the actor's perspective, a SAG actor, let's say, is wanted by a non-union production. A SAG actor can require or demand a SAG contract. And in that situation, and I think more actors need to know this because I learned this recently, SAG actors actually have the power to flip a production union. Obviously, we're a little union biased, but we want more production to go union. This gets tricky when you say that someone usually works non-union because we don't want it to sound like they're disrespecting the crew, but if we're talking about a non-union film that you can imagine he shoots pretty run and gun. He has a very indie feel. He used this as an example. Actors were approaching real people, and he was getting it on film, and he would get them to sign a release later. But he was using real people in a run and gun scene in real crowds. And the issue was, he goes, do you know how much more difficult that is to do when there's 40 people around you and you just want everyone to go away? He goes, come on, guys, do we need the head of transportation here? And I'll just speak from an example. I produced full-on web series. I shot short films and stuff like that. First of all, obviously, it was low budget. The hard work was just doing the paperwork. That being said, It was important for us to do the paperwork because we were like, okay, we want to play by the rules, and also being part of SAG, I wanted to make sure it was all kosher.
Yeah,
but when you talk about anyone who's doing an independent film right now, it's like, of course it makes more money sense to make things non-union because it's so difficult. It's so difficult to have all the paperwork and have all the regulations, and you can't be as run and gun. So I think the point I'm trying to make is like how you were saying, where everyone was just all cool, calm, and collected and casual. here we are. I can't even imagine what, I'm sure Anora was still a great experience, but you can imagine it's one of his indie films might be a little messier. And that's a bad way of saying it, and it's sad because you're saying, hey, all these regulations and restrictions that are protecting us, they kind of got in the way because there's a minimum. There's regulations that this person has to be here, or Nicole Kidman just made a comment about the intimacy coordinator. She's doing sex scenes with Timothée Chalamet right now. Yeah, literally right now they're having sex. I'm just joking, but
wait, it wasn't Nicole Kidman.
Out.
It was Gwyneth Paltrow, wasn't it?
Oh,
I don't think
my
it was
God.
Nicole
Thank
Kidman.
you.
Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow is having
Yeah.
sex scenes with Timothée Chalamet, and she goes, I'm from a different generation. This intimacy coordinator, you can back up, and I don't need your help. Now,
the quote that I read today was she said something like, I'm from an era where you get naked, you get into bed, and there's a camera rolling, or something like that. I might be butchering that quote, but that was the quote that I read.
No, that was another quote there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that gives you an idea.
Which is vital, though, I think. Right, but it's to protect people. It's not regulation for regulation's sake. That one is vital to protect people because it's such a sensitive area, and you've heard horror stories of I don't want to say being abused, but they're pretty much being abused on sets. So I think intimacy coordinators is a brilliant thing to have on a set, and I think it's vital. So filmmakers saying it gets in the way. I think that loses validity when it's to do with something as basic as people's safety in areas like that.
And so on top of that, we should mention this. Mikey Madison declined from having an intimacy coordinator on the set of Anora. Now, it's up to her. She was offered by the production, and she declined. Now, if you watch Anora, she plays a sex worker. There's a lot of sex scenes in it, and it was up to her, but she declined. And also, to your point of this is why this is so important, aside from intimacy coordinator, we're also coming off of Rust. Rust is where the director of photography got shot on set accidentally. It was the Alec Baldwin feature film. So that already right off the bat gives you an idea of how important and how aware everyone is about unions, production safety, and also unions. And so I completely agree. I completely agree with what you're saying. I mean, this is here to protect everyone.